For jewelry stores, then there's Zapp's. KFNC, Mont Bellevue, Houston.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is the Golf Hour
on ESPN 97.5 and the ESPN Houston app.
From the Huntington Bank Studios, here's your host, Will Doctor.
All right, ready to roll. Nice to have you with us. Welcome into the Golf Hour. Will Doctor with you for the next hour. We have a lot to get into at the halfway point of the BMW Championship at Bellerive. We'll keep you up to date as far as the Nexo Championship. Couple other things we have to get into today as well. The FedEx Cup situation with only the top 30 moving on to Eastlake. We'll cover that in today's show. We'll get into some President's Cup stuff. A lot coming down to the wire as far as qualifications on both teams. You look at Team USA. Ben Griffin, he's at only the top 6 get the automatic bid, and then the next 6 are captain's picks. And on the bubble of automatic qualification for Team USA is Ben Griffin at 5, Colin Morikawa at 6, and then your leader at the Wyndham Championship, Wyndham Clark at 7. I'm surprised that Clark is not in the auto top 6 at the moment, being the U.S. Open champion, has one other PGA Tour win this year. But I was talking with a buddy last night. It is amazing how much Ben Griffin padded his points over the last 24 months, but more notably last year. If we're counting the Zurich, won 4 times. So there's a good reason he's still in that 5 spot, despite the fact that has not played that good a golf here over the last 4 events. We'll keep you up to date there. My first thing with the BMW Championship is, I was not on site this week. My preview Tuesday, and the course rundown was largely based on flyovers. And I feel that, I knew that Bellerive was a little bit wider than I expected, but not only are the fairways wide, it's playing very soft. This has been a major championship golf course over the years, but as we talked about Tuesday, for the 2008 BMW and the 2018 PGA, it played soft, and the scores got to the mid-teens. And I know the rough is healthy this week. The greens have some movement, but relatively soft. I just think this and the leaderboard largely dictates it. It's a bit of a brute test. The players at the top of this leaderboard, Wyndham Clark has driven it beautifully through 2 rounds with accuracy. But these are not thinkers atop the leaderboard. And I feel my preview was that we have some good things going heading into the weekend. Patrick Cantlay and Michael Thorbjornsen. Cantlay, we have the top 10. He's in a tie for 6. Thorbjornsen, we had the top 20. Knew this was going to be a beautiful course fit for him. He's in a tie for 6th. But as far as the outright winners, Adam Scott at 4 under. He is 8 back heading into the weekend with an outside chance. I still think he has the profile to get it done on this golf course, as we saw in 2018 when he contended at the PGA. It's just the putter. Losing almost 2 shots to the field on the greens through 2 rounds. Adam Scott, he has the distance and accuracy off the tee. One of the better iron players in the game, but someone who is just – it's been the story of the last 2 years for Adam Scott and the broomstick. Just cannot find his mojo on the greens. We'll see if that changes heading into the weekend. Let's get into the leader and Wyndham Clark. He has solved the challenge of Bellerive better than anyone through 36 holes. He's at 12 under after rounds of 64, 64, one ahead of Gary Woodland. And we'll get into Gary Woodland later on in today's show. He is also someone who is in contention at the PGA at Bellerive in 2018, and someone who, looking back, what a great course fit Gary Woodland was. Very comfortable around this place. We'll hear from him later on after round 2, some of his interviews from post-Friday's round. But Wyndham has stood apart. He is 1 ahead of Gary, 2 ahead of J.J. Spahn. And then you got Chris Gotterup and Sungjae Im there at 9 under. But Wyndham Clark is the only player in the field without a bogey. It is the first time in his career that he has gone bogey-free through 36 holes. And Clark talked about Bellerive and really the fact that between the Zoysia and the way they keep this golf course, it is soft, and he is attacking.
It's a little unfair to Bellerive just simply because of the time of year. It's so soft. It's hard to make the greens firm, and then anytime we get to play in Zoysia, we're all so good, able to control our distances and kind of do whatever we want with the golf ball. So those two things, make it look, I guess, like you said, easy, but it's not.
I said comfortable.
Comfortable. You said, yeah, so make it look comfortable. It's not an easy course by any means. I mean, you see guys making bogeys left and right, and it is challenging. It's a great golf course. I just think because of the soft conditions.
And maybe you guys have experienced the Zoysia conditions out at Highland Pines, which is one of the really the better new public golf courses in the Houston area, and they've put Zoysia in, and it really is just perfect. The ball sits up nicely. There's no bad lies. There's no mud balls, and yeah, the guys this week at Bellerive who have really been on with their irons: Wyndham Clark, Chris Gotterup, Patrick Cantlay, Russell Henley, Victor Hovland. These guys who are striking the ball well out of the fairway. Really, everyone except Adam Scott is taking advantage. I don't see Bellerive drying out over the weekend, and I would say this will be the easiest playoff test out of the three. Memphis last week was a great challenge with how firm it was, balls rolling out of the fairway, Bermuda greens. And then Eastlake, even though I believe Eastlake has also gone to Zoysia fairways, that is always a good test. And as Clark said, it's not an attack on the golf course. It's just this time of year, it's always soft in St. Louis. And the weather, you had some rain Sunday, had some rain Tuesday. It's really taken the teeth out of the golf course. I will say Wyndham Clark's back nine, very impressive yesterday. We talk about these halfway point leaders, and the top of this leaderboard is a lot strong. It's a trustworthy top of the leaderboard. I don't see this changing that much between Wyndham Clark and Gary Woodland and Chris Gotterup. J.J. Spahn also on a roll with a new putter, in that honeymoon phase with the new putter. So I see Spahn also staying atop the leaderboard. Sungjae Im has been dependable this year as far as a top 20 machine. Cantlay trying to heat things up ahead of the President's Cup. Get a bid from Brandt Snedeker. Michael Thorbjornsen, also a recent winner, won in Detroit, and he knows that probably going to take a win for him to get a nod from Snedeker. Let's just check where Thorbjornsen is here on President's Cup. He had 29 on President's Cup points. He will need a win to have any chance to get on that team. And then, of course, you have Rory McIlroy at 7 under in a tie for 8th, just 1 week after a really horrid performance in Memphis. He doesn't like that golf course. Bellerive, a completely different story. He called Bellerive a modern ballpark. It's kind of he kind of compared it to Valhalla. Ludwig Oberg compared it to Quail Hollow. It's a big ballpark. It's soft, and those are the best conditions for world number 2 Rory McIlroy. Now, back to Clark. The fairway bunker shots that he hit down the stretch in his second round on 12, 14, 18, it kind of took me back to the U.S. Open at Shinnecock where he was scrambling from all over the place, and he just knows, even, despite him being a sprayer of the golf ball off the tee, which you were seeing firsthand on his back nine yesterday, he is still a fantastic wedge player around the greens, and even though he has struggled in his career with fairway bunker shots, really the way he played 12, 14, and 18 yesterday and took advantage of a great fairway bunker shot on 14 with a birdie there. Very impressive stuff. Here was Clark on his sand efforts yesterday down the back nine.
For me, it's huge. I traditionally have struggled out of the fairway bunkers, and it's something I work really hard on. And, it helps my swing. But when I get into those and I pull off a shot, it's actually, those are the best shots of the day. Because mentally I go in there with a little bit of, fear, unknown, how I'm going to hit the shot, and to pull them off and overcome that is great. So those are huge.
Yeah, I have no reason to have, especially with the fact that for the most part, other than the back nine yesterday, his driver has looked completely dialed in, and we know what kind of we know what kind of short iron and distance wedge player Clark is, picking up almost 3 shots in the field with his second shot through 2 rounds. The putter really hasn't even heated up yet. I'm not adding anything, especially when we get into Woodland later on. You'll hear how confident he is in his game. If Adam Scott shoots a couple 64s, great. But I don't see the top of this leaderboard changing all that much. As far as more on your leader, Wyndham Clark, as aforementioned, already has 2 wins this season at the CJ Cup in Dallas and at the U.S. Open. This is his 7th career 36-hole lead. He has converted 2 out of those 6. Yeah, if the putter stays warm and he doesn't start spraying it too much, he should have no problem this weekend. He does have some dogs behind him. Gary Woodland, J.J. Spahn, Chris Gotterup, Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay. You have Scheffler after a tough start. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler. He is not out of this. And I believe he was a little under the weather in round 1 after his 8-shot victory last week. He comes out yesterday, and, he was even through 9 holes. He makes the turn, and he's still at 2 over. He goes birdie on 10, birdie on 11, birdie on 13, birdie on 14, birdie on 17. 5 under 65 to get to 3 under. I know he's 9 back of Clark, and especially with soft conditions ahead. Scheffler said it's going to take 4 more 9s like the one on the back 9 yesterday to have any chance to win this golf tournament. One more thing here before we take a break. It was interesting to find out that Wyndham Clark, he was talking about the last 3 weeks, or his last 3 tournaments, and notably his performance after the U.S. Open win at Shinnecock. He went 5th at the Travelers, 13th at the Scottish. He then had back-to-back missed cuts at the British Open and in Detroit, where his ball striking really got loose, didn't putt well. We found out yesterday, and I knew Wyndham Clark threw out the first pitch at a Detroit Tigers game during Rocket Classic week. And credit to him, the pitch was good, right down the pipe. You can go look it up, about 55 miles per hour. No embarrassment there. Good form. The problem is, apparently he threw his arm out. Wyndham Clark threw his arm out while warming up to throw the first pitch. Let's hear it, Johnny.
Well, I didn't do anything beforehand. I show up and I'm like, oh gosh, I need to do a practice, and I didn't get anything. And then about 20 minutes, and the pitching coach was like, hey, do you want to go throw underneath and meet some of the guys? I was like, sure. So we threw probably 15 warm-ups, and then I actually started throwing it kind of hard, and I was like, oh, this feels really good, and it was stupid. I started throwing harder and harder, and then went out to the first pitch, kind of took a little bit off, and then I woke up the next day, and oh my gosh, my arm was hurting.
You slotted it, though.
I did. I'm very proud of that pitch.
So, credit to Clark, threw a strike, but our U.S. Open champion, the fact he's threw out his arm preparing for a ceremonial first pitch. Once again, we talked about this last week with the Heat in Memphis. Not a good couple weeks for the golf athlete take. And we spoke about this last week with Memphis and players coming off the course. It was about 100 degrees in Memphis last week, and there were some players coming off the course saying that they were about to pass out. Somewhere out there, Stephen A. is listening to this stuff, and he continues to build on that take. I was against Stephen A. many months ago. These last 2 weeks have ruined my take that all golfers are athletes, and you would think someone like Clark, who is an absolute stallion, in great fitness shape, so it appears. But the fact that he got hurt warming up for a first pitch, it only hurts it only hurts my argument that all golfers are athletes, and I have to continue to preach. There were some listeners who were on me earlier this week, and Chris Gotterup is in contention. I was on him fairly hard for his words last week in Memphis. Here was Chris Gotterup on the biggest challenges of playing for the Heat in Memphis, and I'm quoting him now from his press conference last Friday. He goes, honestly, for me, it's hard. One, just staying as hydrated as possible, getting the salt right, electrolytes, all that. It is hard to keep up. My hands get really sweaty. That's part of the deal, too. It's just trying to make sure I'm ready to go, getting ready for every shot, and mentally, honestly. The reason this works against my athlete take is, growing up in Texas, and if you grew up playing golf in the South, I mean, we all have to deal with 100-degree temperatures for 3-4 months at a time. And for someone at the top level of the PGA Tour to have only played 2 competitive rounds between the Open and last week in Memphis, which was Gotterup's schedule, and have a tough time with the Heat, I have to question the athletic ability. And same goes for Wyndham Clark. Getting hurt warming up during a first pitch, I have to question the athletic ability there. We'll take a quick break. On the other side, we'll hear more from the great Gary Woodland, the Houston Open champion, who's back in contention at the BMW. This is the Golf Hour with Will Doctor. Back after this.
If you missed John and Lance, you missed this.
A new study says popular erection medication could make you go blind. Are you guys there? I can't see you.
Weekday mornings from 7 to 10.
Are you there?
Hey guys, listen, if you've got old electrical parts and equipment, don't scrap it. Sell it to M&J Electrical Supply. For over 30 years, M&J has been buying new surplus and used electrical equipment. You get more money from M&J. Circuit breakers, transformers, disconnects, fuses, panels, switchgear, and more. You've got it, they'll buy it. Contractors, M&J Electrical Supply buys, sells, and removes electrical equipment. Call 713-699-5055 or email sales@mnjelectrical.com.
DraftKings Sportsbook at the Golden Nugget Lake Charles is your best bet this football season. Catch all the action and immerse yourself in over 3,200 square feet of LED screens. Wager, watch, and win in the sleekest setting with the best odds. Order your favorite game day bites and sip on an award-winning cocktail at your game day headquarters. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook, Louisiana's largest sportsbook at the Golden Nugget Lake Charles. A 2-hour drive from Houston. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Please call 1-877-770-STOP.
This is the Golf Hour
On ESPN 97.5 and the ESPN Houston app.
from the Huntington Bank Studios. Here's Will Doctor.
Yeah, Johnny made a great point of the break. Johnny Belmer behind the ones and twos today. Nice to have you aboard, Johnny. Look, golf is obviously golf is a sport. And a lot of these guys do display phenomenal athletic ability. The speed, the balance, the coordination, the durability that's required to play at this level. It is real, but, things are said by the players in these press conferences, and I have to give you my honest take on that. I think that it definitely hurts the case. Clark, throwing out his arm on the first pitch, and Gotterup, gasping for breath in Memphis last week. I think it hurts the take as far as are all golfers athletes. Let's see here. As far as Clark and the leader, Wyndham Clark, at 12 under at the BMW, if you're just joining us. Everyone has said that Scotty Scheffler has Player of the Year and the money list locked up. I'm in the same belief there. But with Clark leading the BMW, you start to have to wonder, if he wins the BMW, he has 3 wins on the season, including the U.S. Open and a playoff event. And Scotty Scheffler has 2 wins. No major, but the consistency has been at an absurd pace. 12 top 5 finishes in 18 starts, 5 runner-ups. Another demolition last week in Memphis. Scheffler's second victory by 8 shots or more. The first one came in Dallas 2 years ago. But yeah, Rory was asked Wednesday whether a Masters and Tour Championship combination could put him in the Player of the Year discussion. And Rory laughed at the reporter, and he said there is no discussion and that Scotty Scheffler is the Player of the Year. If Clark finishes the job here, I don't think the debate becomes legitimate. 12 top fives and 18 starts for Scheffler. That's world class. Wyndham has still had his ebbs and flows through the season, did not have a good start on the West Coast, did not have a top 25 finish until April at the Masters. And then after the U.S. Open win, had a little bit of a downfall at the Open Championship and the Rocket Classic where he threw his arm out. So I think that Clark would really have to win here at the BMW and then go on and win the Tour Championship. And I think then the debate would be over. That would be 4 wins for Clark, a major, 2 playoff wins, and would probably take the FedEx Cup. That is a Player of the Year resume right there. And regardless, remember, Scotty, it doesn't even matter if Wyndham wins this week. Scotty will start next week at the Tour Championship in the number 1 seed position. Let's get to Gary Woodland here. He's from Kansas. Gary is won earlier this year in Houston, which was a major story locally, and really what Gary has had to overcome as we've covered a lot on this show. Overcame a massive brain tumor, did not know if he was going to live, and has really come back strong over these last 2 years. And we saw that on firsthand in Houston, where he won by 5 shots at 21 under. But Gary's feeling very comfortable through 2 rounds this week. In fact, he said that this was the most comfortable he has felt through 36 holes of a golf tournament, with where his body is, with where his brain is. His wife arrived to the tournament on Friday. Gary's feeling very good. Listen in.
Yeah, I'd say that. I feel very comfortable. It's nice being close to home. It's nice having so much support out here. The fans have been amazing, and I'm definitely feeding off that energy for sure.
And the numbers support that feeling through 2 rounds for Gary. He leads the field off the tee. He is the number 1 player in the field through 2 rounds with his approach play. We'll see what happens with Woodland on the greens this weekend, but he has more experience at Bellerive than anyone in the top 10 on this leaderboard. Was in contention through 2 rounds at the 2018 BMW, where he played with Tiger on Saturday. Said he wasn't ready for that moment. We'll hear about that from him later on. But just played beautifully, Gary did, on Friday to follow up his 64 in the first round where, and I was watching this live, Gary made an eagle on 11 as par 4. I believe he had a wedge in his hand from 110 yards out, front right pin, threw it about 10 yards behind the pin, and then sucked it back with some spin right into the cup. Absolutely electric stuff from Gary Woodland there on Thursday, and he turned it around Friday. Bogey-free 65, 3 under on the front, 2 under on the back. Here was Gary on his Friday round.
I played nicely. I didn't probably hit it as well as I did yesterday, where I was in complete control, but the key for me was I lost it a little bit on the back 9 there, lost some shots to the right, and I was able to adjust, kind of take a step back. I checked my grip, which is a key from Randy Smith there. I checked my grip and hit 4 really great shots coming in on 17, 18. So proud of the adjustment I made there.
Yeah, the other thing, and obviously I'm always fascinated by how simple the practice of Randy Smith disciples are. Scotty, world number 1 Scotty Scheffler. What is he always working on? It's always the fundamentals. Grip, alignment, posture, never working on anything too crazy outside of that. And then here's Gary Woodland, another Randy Smith disciple, talking about, all he's focused on this week is having a solid grip. It's one of the few things you can do that is within your control. And that's what Gary's focused on. He also changed golf balls before this week. I don't have the exact golf ball that he switched to. I don't have that information. He did say his goal was to reduce some of the spin on these Zoysia lies this week and make the distance a little more predictable. Here was Gary Moore. He was more from Woodland on switching the pellet.
Yeah, that golf ball change is I know it's going to be good for me down the road, but it's been amazing for me right now. Coming off this type of grass, it's a little less spin. This type of grass definitely adds spin to the golf ball. So being able to control my distance is a lot better. That golf ball's helped me a ton this week for sure, and hopefully get into next week and have the same type of grass, and would help me there as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gary played well over the weekend at the 2018 PGA, looking back, and that was at Bellerive. He was the first-round leader with a 64 and was tied first-round leader again this week. Would have been a good handicapping play. Missed the mark there. But Gary, back at the 2018 PGA, followed up the opening round 64 at the 66. And then the third round with Tiger, that hurt him. It was a third round 71 that didn't take him out of contention, but put him a little too far back on the leaderboard to keep up with eventual winner Brooks Koepka, who won his third major that week, and eventually Adam Scott got back up with pace, and then Tiger was also there in contention as well. Adam Scott, you look back to 2018, he did have the low third round at the 2018 PGA, shot 65 to put himself in contention back at the 2018 PGA. But here was Gary Woodland and his thoughts on that week over 8 years ago.
It was definitely the first time I probably had a lot of nerves going in there.
Saturday specific, I mean.
Yes, it helped. I mean, I played with Kiz, who's a buddy. I played with Brooks, who's a buddy. That helped, but I wasn't probably ready for it yet. I'm definitely more prepared for it now. I've been through the ringer a lot. Looking forward to it more now than, then I was probably a little nervous going in. Now I thrive in it.
In 18.
What's
until
that?
the 10th hole, you're probably looking forward
until I made
to it.
until the 10th hole. At the end of the day, I love the golf course. The golf course sets up nice for me, and you feed off the energy of the crowd out here. And I've had success here, which is a big key for me as well.
All right, so that's Gary Woodland. He's in second, one shot back at Clark. In solo third is J.J. Spahn. Has won here in the state of Texas twice. Is a two-time winner of the Valero Texas Open. 14 birdies through 2 rounds for Spahn, so most of the field. He shot 66 yesterday on his 36th birthday. Happy belated birthday to J.J. Spahn. His ball striking has not been surprising at all through 2 rounds. That's something, the driver and the irons are something you never have to worry about with J.J. Spahn. That seems to be consistent on a week-in, week-out basis, but it's funny to watch J.J. Spahn rotate through all these putters. This putter he has this week, he had used it at the Travelers before, so it's not a straight out of left field equipment change. It's a model he knows well, but he is in a re-honeymoon phase with this putter, as he described it. Listen in.
No, I think that does happen, at least for me, quite a bit. When I left this putter that I'm using now, during Travelers, that was my first week with a different putter, and I finished top 6 or 7 and gained probably 3 or 4 strokes on the green. So, some people call it honeymoon phase and stuff, but this one's been around for a while and has seen some really, really cool things. So it's nice to get back into it and feel like, the work that I've been doing with my stroke is kind of paying its dividends with this new putter, or with my, old new putter. And I feel comfortable with it because I've had so much success with it.
So I think it's either this Scotty Cameron Spider 9.2 or it's this Lab Golf DF3. I'm going to have to do some more research on that over break. I had a tough time finding what golf ball Gary Woodland switched to, and I'm not sure exactly what putter Spahn has balled out with through 2 rounds. Once again, he's made the most birdies in the field. Got to watch out for J.J. Spahn here going into the weekend. We got to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll hear from Scotty Scheffler. We'll hear from world number one on what needs to happen this weekend for him to win. We'll hear from Patrick Cantlay and his game moving in the right direction at a great time ahead of the President's Cup. Hear from Cantlay on how Bellerive fits his game so well. A lot more to do. This is the Golf Hour with Will Doctor. Before we go to break, I got to tell you about one of the most prestigious amateur championships in the world, and it's coming back to Texas this November. It's the 2026 Spirit International Amateur Golf Championship, which will take place November 9th through the 14th at the number one ranked golf course in Texas, which is Whispering Pines Golf Club. The Spirit brings together the best amateur men and women from 20 countries in a 54-hole Olympic-style competition featuring both team and individual gold medals. And if you follow professional golf, you already know the legacy. Past Spirit competitors include Scotty Scheffler, Jordan Spieth, Victor Hovland, Rose Zhang, and Lexi Thompson. They were all at Whispering Pines competing at the Spirit before they became major champions and global stars. And I cannot give you too much detail on the field just yet. I will give you this little nugget. I did find out yesterday that Team England is sending U.S. amateur champion Jack Whaley to compete for England at the Spirit. And you'll recall to last week's show, Whaley was our favorite player going into the weekend at the U.S. Amateur Champion. I love the NAIA pop and sizzle that he brings to the table. Now, of course, he's transferred to Florida State, whereby I have to check what class Jack Whaley is, but you got Miles Russell committed to Florida State. You have Charlie Woods committed to Florida State. So that's going to be an absolute powerhouse franchise, and I'm sure they're going to land some, massive NAIA deals. I'm not NAIA deals. What about Johnny?
NIL.
My apologies. They'll have the most valuable college golf team in the country here in the next 1 or 2 years. But looking forward to getting Jack Whaley here for the Spirit and seeing him play Whispering Pines. Over the next few Saturdays, we'll release the field as we go. I don't want to give you too much because we really have not released it as an organization. So, we'll slowly release that over the time. But opening ceremonies begin November 10th, rounds running Thursday through Saturday, and closing ceremonies on the 14th. And it's all bigger than golf. Hosted by the Spirit Golf Association, this championship supports critical charitable initiatives in healthcare, education, and food programs with more than $13 million contributed to date. It's a 2026 Spirit International. You can find out more at www.thespiritgolf.org. Once again, www.thespiritgolf.org.
This is ESPN 97.5.
Life has a way of shifting priorities, changing needs, and pivoting plans. Home Bank is there for all of them. Their bankers partner with you every step along the way, from understanding your needs, meeting your goals, and celebrating your successes. Home Bank is invested in the vibrant spirit of our community and in you. So partner with them. Stop by any banking center across Greater Houston or visit home24bank.com to get started today. Good for business, good for life. Home Bank, member FDIC.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
John Granado here with Robin Orlando from Houston Powder Coaters. Man, oh man, you guys are bigger and better than ever. You guys are doing something with AI now.
Oh my goodness, love it or hate it, AI is here, and we are fully embracing it. So we have all of these massive data centers coming into Texas, and Houston Powder Coaters is doing all of the frameworks. So you come out, you will see these massive frames, and they're all for these AI centers, these data centers.
They have to be perfect, and they picked you guys.
They picked us, so the welding has to be right, the prep work has to be right. right. The coating has to be right. And they know we're number one.
And if you buy new stuff, get it powder coated before you put it out, because you can't say it'll last forever, but it'll last almost forever.
It's going to give it a good 1 or 2 decades to go.
And it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever you have that's metal, powder coated first.
Antiques, patio furniture, trailers, we got you.
ESPN listeners are saying it all the time. They're loving Houston Powder Coaters. HoustonPowderCoaters.com. HoustonPowderCoaters.com. Ask for Robin.
I got you.
Want to know what's really happening in professional golf? Then you need the Golf Hour with Will Doctor. Will covers the latest and biggest stories happening on the professional golf scene, breaking down the tour, the majors, and the betting board. Plus, Will gets the inside scoop directly from players, coaches, caddies, and the people who actually know what's going on. Listen to sharp analysis and real opinions each week on the Golf Hour with Will Doctor. Saturday mornings at 8 on ESPN 97.5 and the ESPN Houston app. You're listening to the Golf Hour
on ESPN 97.5 and the ESPN Houston app.
From the Huntington Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor.
Let's look about 9 shots behind the leader, Wyndham Clark at the BMW. That is where world number 1 Scotty Scheffler is at 3 under in a tie for 25th. In case you're just joining the show, Scotty fired a 5 under 65 yesterday, shot 5 under on the back 9 to move up the leaderboard back into a place where he does have an outside chance to, by the time we get to Sunday afternoon, you could see world number 1 back in contention, but it would take 4 special 9s. Thursday, when he fired a 2 over 72, he did say after the round that he was under the weather. He was not 100%, but Friday looked healthy, and here was world number 1 on what he needs to do over the next 2 days.
Last couple of rounds here to win this thing, and you think you're right in it, don't you?
I mean, I'm not where I'd like to be, but yeah, I had a good. I'll probably have to have 4 9s like I did on the back 9 today, and that'll give me a chance to win. So hopefully do more what I did on the back over the course of the next 36.
If he the way he putted last weekend when he won by 8 in Memphis, where he basically picked up 9 shots on the field on the greens. It was the best putting week of his career. He made 23 birdies, winning PGA Tour win number 21, and only 168 starts. It was impressive stuff. And when you look at players who have won multiple PGA Tour events by at least 8, it's small. Tiger Woods, Ernie Els, Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, and now Scotty Scheffler. The putting he displayed last week in Memphis, if that can come alive at all, which we got a little bit of a preview of on the back 9 yesterday, it's a tall task, but I wouldn't put it past him, Scheffler, to get back into this thing. Looking further down the leaderboard, to a tie for 6th. That would be, and if you're just joining us, Wyndham Clark's your leader at 12 under. Gary Woodland's in 2nd at 11 under. J.J. Spaun in solo 3rd at 10 under. And then in a 2-way tie for 4th is Chris Gotterup and Sung J M. And then Patrick Cantlay and Michael Thorbjornsen are both in a tie for 6th at 8 under. Cantlay, when you look at the President's Cup, he needs to have a good finish here to the season. He has a 10-4-0 President's Cup record over his career. He's not in the Tour Championship yet. He is 43rd on the FedEx Cup money list. You have to be in the top 30 to get into next week. And right now, he's 17th on the President's Cup points list. If he does not have a top 5 finish and get into the Tour Championship, I don't think Brandt Snedeker would have any reason to take him. You look at this, you look at the President's Cup points. In the automatic top 6 right now for the Americans are Scotty Scheffler, Cameron Young, Sam Burns, Russell Henley, Ben Griffin, and Colin Morikawa. So if the points ended today, those 6 would get automatic entry to Medina. The next 6, 7 is Wyndham Clark, 8 is Chris Gotterup, 9 Xander Schauffele, 10's J.J. Spaun. I don't see how those 4 guys would not make the team with where their games are currently at. 11 is Justin Thomas. 12 is Jacob Bridgman. And JT does have a 10-3-2 President's Cup record, which has to be taken seriously. His game, though, right now, JT, won top 15 in his last 4 starts. He went 50th at the Scottish, 65th at the British, 14th at the Wyndham, tied 47th last week in Memphis. Not playing well, and neither is Jacob Bridgman. So you look outside the top 12, you have Akshay Bhatia at 13, Patrick Cantlay at 17, those and Gary Woodland at 27. And you would have to think if Gary ends this year with 2 wins, if he could find a way to win the BMW, plus the motivating story there with his recovery, they're going to want him in the locker room. Cantlay has to play well this weekend. We have seen him collapse over weekends a lot over the last month. Was in a good place heading into the weekend at the Rocket Classic. Ended up finishing tied 8th. Was in a good position heading into the weekend at the FedEx St. Jude in Memphis last week. Fell to a tie for 12th. Here was Cantlay on feeling like he's in a good spot right now with his overall game.
Yeah, I feel like the game's been trending. Feeling more comfortable, definitely with my irons, and I just got to get hot with the putter. If you put a week together with good ball striking and then you get hot on the putting green, then that's usually your best finishes of the year. So trying to stay patient, but I feel like everything's turning in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't think you could find a better golf course to suit his game on the schedule this year. The fact that he has the perfect lies in the fairways with the zoysia and the soft bent grass greens, it suits him perfectly. I expect him to stay in the top 10, although has not looked that sharp on Sundays in the big spot. I certainly don't see him winning this golf tournament, but to stay in the top 10, absolutely. It should be no problem for Cantlay over this weekend. Here was Cantlay on the golf course and how it suits his game.
Yeah, I think it's a golf course. You definitely have to play from the fairway. The rough's up, and if you do, you can be aggressive on some holes. And today I drove the ball great and gave myself a lot of chances.
So, yeah, he entered the week. No. After his round yesterday, and he moved up the leaderboard, he is now projected 31st on the FedEx Cup standings. That would be one, if he were to finish 6th and all the situations around him remain the same. If he finished 6th, he would be projected 31st on the FedEx Cup standings. So he really needs to finish this week in the top 5 if he's going to safely be in that top 30 and move to Eastlake. He's got to keep moving. Sung J M and Michael Thor Bjornsson are also players in the top 10 on this leaderboard who are currently outside the top 30. Kurt Kitty, right now, when you look at the bottom of this leaderboard, the BMW, Kitayama, Fowler, Bud Cauley, all players who are looking like they're going to fall outside of the top 30 or remain outside of the top 30, not make it to Eastlake. So we'll keep an eye on that there. As far as more on the President's Cup, the automatic qualification window will close Sunday. So basically the top 6 Americans have the weekend to kind of set their place. And after two rounds at the BMW, let's see here. Scheffler playing well. That's not moving. Basically, I don't see the top 5 changing. I don't even think with Ben Griffin struggling over the last several months, I don't think there's any situation where he can fall outside of the top 6. And when I first looked at that, this is a what have you done for me lately kind of game golf is. But for him to have won 4 times between last year and then in the fall when he won at Diamante, it's an impressive run. It's a President's Cup deserving run. You just hope that he can kind of repeat by the time they get to Medina. But a lot on the line for Wyndham Clark as far as the President's Cup, with him being 7th on the points list. This should be a week that sees him moving up. Let's see where Morikawa is, ranked 6th. Morikawa is currently in a tie for 8th at the BMW, so he's holding his own. Clark would be a no-doubt President's Cup pick. So would Goddard with 2 wins on the season, and he could sneaky. 2 wins, I think, for Goddard this year. I'm sorry, 3 wins for Goddard on the year. 1 the Sony Open, 1 in Phoenix, 1 the John Deere Classic. I mean, if he finds a way to win the BMW and contends the Tour Championship, he's going to have an argument for Player of the Year. I mean, a top 25 at the Masters, a top 10 at the PGA. Disappointing 43rd place finish at the U.S. Open for Goddard. I'd have thought he'd fare better at Shinnecock, but he has an opportunity to also shake up the Player of the Year award and not the money list, but and also playing for his President's Cup position as well. And then J.J. Spaun there at 10th. Big weekend for him. J.J. Spaun feels like he has to play well over the next 2 weeks to get in the President's Cup. And here was more from last year's U.S. Open winner on that.
Is President's Cup on your mind?
Yeah. I mean, I know I got to take care of business, play well, and, I would love to just earn my way and not have to be, on the chopping block for a pick. But all I can do is just continue to play as best as I can and, hopefully earn it the hard way.
Are you kind of in a mindset of you need to play well one of these next 2 weeks to, validate?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's hard to think that, locking up Tour Championship, making it there, and, winning earlier this year, is still not enough. But, that's, over a course of a whole season, they want guys that are peaking at the right time. And I want to show them that, I am playing well and I'm still in good form and, can be an asset to the team in September.
All right, so on the other side, we'll get you up to date with the Nexo Championship, what's going on across the pond in Scotland. We will also dive into I'll give you a couple updates on there's just been a lot of live golf in the headlines as far as its collapse. Obviously, no one cares. No one's watching Indianapolis this weekend, and this is going to be a tour that will soon be a thing of the past. But their chief executive gave a couple comments. Bryson DeChambeau gave a couple comments. Rory McIlroy said that this week that the live guys have not proven their value. I'll tell you why he was right on the other side. But first, let's send a couple more people to the ESPN Houston Listener Party of the Year, which is happening Friday, August 28th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at St. Arnold Beer Hall. We'll have food, drinks. Listen, even if you're not a beer drinker, supposedly they have some of the best root beer on the planet. We'll have giveaways. And, of course, your favorite ESPN 97.5 personalities will be there. John Granado, Lance Zierlein, Del Olele, Jeremy Branham, Joe George, B-Mac, yours truly. We'll all be there. Looking forward to celebrating. Looking forward to seeing you. You must be 21 or older to attend. You cannot buy these tickets. That is the kicker here. You can't call Joe and purchase tickets. Can't call the station. Can I purchase tickets? No. You have to win your way in. So let's do it right now. Caller number 3 at 713-780-3776 wins a pair of tickets. 2 tickets to the 2026 ESPN 97.5 Listener Appreciation Party on Friday, August 28th. Once again, caller number 3, 713-780-3776 is the number. Good luck, and we'll see you at St. Arnold.
ESPN 97.5.
On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to Game Day. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. Yep, that means you, Texas. Every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers, sign up with code Houston Houston 97.5. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code Houston 97.5 in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms at dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state.
Hey guys, Lance here. You know, it's important to know a good plumber. You never know when that emergency is going to strike. Well, I've got a plumber for you. AqueductPlumbingCompany.com. They have been helping 97.5 listeners for years and years, and I can personally recommend them because they've done a repiping job, they've done small jobs, they've done mid-sized jobs. They do it all. They can clean tankless water heaters, install them for you. You name it, they can do it without charging exorbitant prices. That's AqueductPlumbingCompany.com. That's AqueductPlumbingCompany.com.
Get world-class Texas barbecue from pitmaster and chef Arash Karat at J-Bar M Barbecue. Dig into legendary brisket, house-made sausage, and all your barbecue favorites. Enjoy $15 buckets of beer and $4 well drinks every Friday and Saturday. Plus, meet our amazing J-Bar M team, including GM Hoffy Ferreira, and say hello to our owner, John Toomey. Visit J-Bar M Barbecue at 2201 Leland in the heart of Edo. Learn more at jbarmbbq.com and follow on socials at jbarmbbq.
Since 1954, Stokes Hardware has been helping Houston and the surrounding areas get the job done. We're your hometown source for quality supplies, expert advice, and outstanding customer service. Need pipe cut and threaded, keys made, glass or plexiglass cut to size? We've got you covered. Whatever your next project is, our knowledgeable team is here to help in every step of the way. Stokes Hardware, where experience, service, and hometown values have made the difference since 1954. Se habla español.
The ESPN 97.5 Listener Appreciation Party is happening Friday, August 28th at the St. Arnold Beer Hall. Want to go? Then keep listening to ESPN Houston for your chance to win tickets. Make sure to follow us on social media because you can win tickets on socials too. St. Arnold Beer will be flowing and there will be plenty of food thanks to the original Ninfas, Ducky McSweeney's, Texadelphia, Terry Black's Barbecue, OMG Burgers, and Tip Streets. Thanks to our supporting sponsor, Republic Boot Company. Keep it locked on ESPN 97.5 for your chance to win.
Have the only audio ready, Bryson.
The Golf Hour continues now on ESPN 97.5 and the ESPN Houston app.
From the Huntington Bank Studios, here's Will Doctor.
All right, so this week there was some updates as far as the collapse of Live Golf, and now some players are going back and forth. There's some players going back and forth as far as whether the players that went to Live Golf brought any kind of value, and whether their value is now in question. And Rory came out and said, Rory was asked, hey, are you guys going to welcome the Jon Rahms and the Bryson DeChambos back with open arms? And Rory posed the question, what value have they brought to Live? So what value are we missing from the PGA Tour? The PGA Tour is in a stronger place than ever. And Lee Westwood fired back, saying that they brought a lot of value. Bryson DeChambeau had a response for Rory. Hey, Johnny, can we'll run the DeChambeau tape as far as this was DeChambeau's comeback to Rory after Rory said that Live golfers have no value.
How are you able to compartmentalize what you have to do on the course with all the work you're doing behind the scenes to ensure the future prosperity of this league?
Yeah, I think, look, it's tough. It's not easy. We definitely have a lot against us. But I think, we've behind the scenes, we've got a lot of people that are working hard to make this possible for not only all the players that are out here, but all the fans that have come out to these events and the economic impact that we've made in all of these places, whether it's South Africa, here in Indy, or Australia, and numerous places across the world, the UK, all the different places we've been in the U.S., although even Nashville, when we played a few years ago, it was unbelievable. So I think, we just have a bit of a responsibility to continue to show this, and, if it works, it works. Awesome, right? If it doesn't, we'll figure things out, and time will move on, and I would say that time heals things. I hope people that can see that we actually bring value to the game of golf. And my wish is that people give us one more shot and be open-minded.
Yeah, there's not going to be another shot, and we found out over the last 4 years that everyone's all hoopla and rah-rah about Bryson DeChambeau's YouTube numbers, but then when he goes to live and he's playing on Fox Sports, there's no one watching. And even without the Rahms and the DeChambeaus and the Westwoods, the tour has not missed a beat. There's been nothing missed from those players. The ratings got better without them. So I agree with Rory on that. All right, we're going to do one more giveaway. We have time, Johnny? We have one more giveaway here. We're giving out tickets to Leonard Skinnard and Foreigner, the Double Trouble Vision Tour. They're playing at Cynthia Woods Pavilion August 27th at 6:30 p.m. We'll take a caller. The caller has to answer this question. Which Houston golf legend won both the Masters and the PGA Championship in 1956? What Houston golf legend won both the Masters and the PGA Championship in 1956? 713-780-3776 is the number. First caller in to answer this question. Johnny, please open up the lines. We'll take it one by one here. There's... When you think about this player, he is a junior. I'll give you a hint there. He is a junior. Let's see here. He was a great teacher. He is not with us anymore. He lived a full life. I believe he lived until he was 100. Great friends with Jimmy DeMerit. Great friends with Charlie Epps. One of the good friends with Steve Elkington. This individual, this Masters champion, good friends with the Elk, who we're actually going to have on the show here pretty soon, in partnership with CanCare. And CanCare is a great. We have a caller. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So yeah. 713-780-3776 is the number. We're giving away tickets to Leonard Skinnard and Foreigner. I have two of them. It is Thursday, August 27th at 6:30 p.m. We'll see if we can. We've got two callers on the line here. We'll see if we can get them in before the end of the show. As far as the BMW Championship, and if you're just joining the show, I don't see this leaderboard changing much at all, especially with how solid of a year the leaders have had. Wyndham Clark, two-time winner. He's at 12 under with a one-shot lead. I expect Gary Woodland. I expect Gary Woodland to stay atop the leaderboard. Johnny, are we gonna bring these people on to answer or no? Maybe Johnny's just giving them away on the phone line. But yeah, to recap everything, this is a strong top of the leaderboard. I don't see anyone really making a move. My one outright who is still in has a way outside shot is Adam Scott at 4 under, 8 shots back. He would have to do something very special. He would have to get the putter completely turned around in a complete 360 way, losing a shot and a half to the field on the greens through 2 rounds. I think Gary Woodland is going to be I do think Gary Woodland's going to win this golf tournament. Johnny, do we have a giveaway here? We're gonna get someone on to answer this question. And we're running out of time here, 8:57. I'm going to have to get out of here soon. Other topics on the, world of golf that we missed today, as far as what's going on at the Nexo and the DP World Tour, Sean Norris has a 2-shot lead, South African. He's 2 shots ahead of Martin Kuvra, who is a young DP World Tour winner. As far as who we have that's in the top 20 there, it's only Jacob Skov and he's at 2 under through 7 holes. He is Once again, outside chance to win this golf tournament. I don't really see it happening. Sean Norris, a very solid veteran at the top of the Nexo leaderboard, and Coover is a former winner. You have Andy Sullivan there in sixth at 4 under. Okay, it looks like we're either going to give this away behind the scenes or we'll do it again next week. Okay, we gave it away. We got the Leonard. Someone's going to go enjoy Leonard Skinnard. That's good to hear. Sorry for the congestion towards the end of the show. We'll be back with you next week. This is the Golf Hour with Will Doctor. The bullpen is next.